The small auction hall at the edge of the old port buzzed with voices as traders, mechanics, and wanderers waited for the next item to appear on the platform. Among them sat a human named Aaron, a traveler who had spent years drifting between jobs that never lasted long. He was not wealthy or influential, but he was patient, and patience had taught him how to find treasures where others saw junk. Today he hoped to find a ship he could rebuild and travel with, a vessel he could finally call his own. The auctioneer stepped forward and announced the next item. A hologram flickered to life, showing a compact starship with a narrow hull, a pair of folded wings, and a front viewport darkened by age. Its paint was chipped and its engines worn, but the frame looked sturdy. The label said the craft was found drifting empty in a debris ring and brought in by salvagers, who had not bothered to explore its interior. Its listed price was far below anything Aaron had expected. Most buyers turned their attention away. A cheap abandoned ship usually meant broken systems, hidden damage, or old toxic tech that cost more to clean than it was worth. But Aaron leaned forward. Something about the craft drew his eye. It had the shape of a vessel that once belonged to a species known for building ships that lasted for generations. For him, that meant potential. When the bidding began, no one raised a hand except Aaron. The auctioneer waited, scanned the room, then slammed the hammer down. The ship was his. Aaron walked out with a worn data key and instructions to claim the vessel at Bay 9. As he made his way across the port, he imagined his first flight, the hum of engines he had repaired himself, and the long routes he would travel without answering to anyone. That dream carried him until he stepped into the large hangar where Bay 9 sat beneath dim lights. There it was. The ship looked better in person. Weathered metal, a hull that held the memory of long journeys. He placed his hand on the side, feeling a faint warmth. Strange. Salvage ships usually went cold when unpowered. He brushed the thought aside and walked to the ramp. The interior smelled like sealed air that had not moved in years. Emergency lights glowed a dim blue. Aaron tapped the panel and tried to bring up the ship's main interface. Nothing responded. He sighed, walked deeper inside, and prepared to open the central maintenance hatch. A voice behind him whispered a word he did not understand. Aaron froze. No sound had suggested another presence. He turned slowly and saw a figure standing where the corridor curved. The being was slender, with smooth blue skin, dark silver markings across the arms, and eyes that shone like polished stone. The alien wore a simple wrap of fabric tied around the waist and carried no tool or weapon. Its posture was calm rather than hostile. Aaron raised his hands to show he meant no harm. "I did not know anyone was here," he said. The alien tilted its head and replied in a soft tone. The words were foreign at first, but after a moment, his translator band began processing the signal. A smooth voice answered through it. "You are the new bearer of this vessel. Therefore, you are now my bonded partner." Aaron blinked. "What?" The alien spoke again. "This ship is a union craft. Ownership transfers the bond. That is our custom. I am Lyra of the Open Sky. By taking this vessel, you have accepted me as your spouse." Aaron stared. He had expected rusted wires, loose panels, maybe some hostile vermin still trying to nest in old ducts. He had not expected this. The data key had not mentioned a living passenger or a cultural bond. He ran a hand through his hair. "I did not know this ship had anyone inside," he said. Lyra answered with a calm voice. "I entered rest mode when my previous partner passed. The ship kept me safe. The bond transfers by law. You now command this vessel and me." Aaron stepped back and leaned against the wall, trying to think. He had not planned for companionship, let alone an alien spouse. He did not want to disrespect another culture, but he also could not accept a bond he had not agreed to knowingly. He lifted his hands again. Lyra, I do not want to force you into anything. I did not come here seeking someone. I just wanted a ship I could repair. Lyra walked closer with slow steps. The bond does not mean you control my choices. It means we share a path. I served my former partner because he honored the bond. If you do not wish that path, I can leave once the ship reaches a safe station. Aaron exhaled with relief. Then stay for now. We can figure everything out. Lyra nodded and stepped to the side control panel. Without touching it, the lights brightened and quiet systems powered up. Aaron watched in surprise. You activated it without accessing the controls, he said. Lyra glanced at him with faint amusement. The ship responds to my presence. My species builds vessels that link with their partners. I can awaken basic functions, even when power levels are low. Aaron knew then the ship was more valuable than he had thought. But he also saw the sadness in Lyra's eyes whenever the alien spoke about the former partner. If Aaron wanted to respect the bond properly, he would need to learn both the customs and the stories behind them. Over the next days, Aaron and Lyra worked together to bring the ship to full capacity. Aaron repaired engines, sealed hull cracks, and replaced worn components. Lyra calibrated navigation nodes and awakened dormant circuits that refused to answer human tools. They moved with an easy rhythm, each learning the strengths of the other. Aaron asked questions gently, careful not to discomfort the alien. Lyra explained the tradition of vessel bonding. In Lyra's culture, a ship was not seen as a tool, but as a living legacy. Each vessel carried the memories and choices of every partner who walked its halls. When a partner passed, the next chosen would take the ship and the companion bound to it. It was not a forced marriage, but a shared duty. If the new bearer rejected the bond, the companion could choose a new path. Aaron listened with respect. This was not a situation he would have ever imagined, but he wanted to treat it with the dignity it deserved. As systems returned to life, the ship revealed more of its original quality. It had a smooth glide, a stable energy core, and wings that extended like blades of polished metal when in open sky. Aaron tested the engines with Lyra nearby, and the vessel rose without hesitation. The feeling of flight washed over him, warm and thrilling. Lyra stood by the front viewport and watched the stars with a quiet expression. Aaron wondered what memories played behind those still eyes. He hesitated before asking. "Do you miss him?" he said. Lyra took a long breath. "He was my partner for many years. He respected our customs and treated me as an equal. When he was taken by sickness, I stayed with the ship. I could not leave it drifting alone. But I do not live in sorrow. The bond is meant to continue. Life is meant to continue." Aaron nodded. Lyra's calm strength filled the ship as much as its hum. One evening, after long hours repairing the navigation array, Aaron sat at the small table in the mess room. Lyra prepared a simple nutrient blend. The two shared a quiet moment as the ship drifted in stable orbit outside a small moon. Aaron finally spoke what had rested in his thoughts for days. "You said you could leave once we reached a safe station. I want you to know you are not bound to stay because of this bond. I would never force you. If you want your own path, I will help you reach wherever you choose." Lyra looked at him for a long moment. The ship hummed gently around them. Then Lyra answered in a calm tone. "You speak with honor. That matters more than the bond. My people believe respect shapes destiny more than any law. You took the vessel, but not for power or convenience. You cared for it, and you cared for me without obligation. Because of that, I choose to remain." Aaron felt the tension in his chest ease. He smiled, "Then stay. Not because the ship demands it, but because you want to." Lyra gave a slight nod. Days turned into weeks as the two traveled together. Each journey deepened their connection. Lyra taught Aaron how to read star patterns no human chart carried. Aaron taught Lyra how to repair human-made tech. They shared stories of their childhoods, their struggles, their hopes for open sky and quiet horizons. Their bond became something more than tradition. It became real companionship, shaped by choice rather than law. One day the ship picked up a faint distress signal from a small mining station. The signal was weak and unstable. Aaron and Lyra went to investigate. When they arrived, they found the station damaged by a rogue meteor cluster and short on oxygen. With Lyra's quick calculations and Aaron's steady hands, they managed to reroute power, stabilize pressure fields, and help the workers repair life support. The miners thanked them and asked for their names so they could send gratitude notices to the wider network. Aaron simply said, "Travelers lending a hand." Lyra added, "Partners of the open sky." As they left the station and the stars stretched into long streams outside the viewport, Aaron glanced at Lyra. "You know," he said, "I never planned for any of this. But I'm glad the ship came with you." Lyra turned and gave him a calm, warm expression. "And I'm glad the bond chose you." The ship flew onward through quiet galaxies, carrying two souls who had not sought partnership, yet found it in the most unexpected place. Their journey continued not because ancient customs demanded it, but because they had built trust that ran deeper than metal, deeper than engines, deeper than the silence between stars. Aaron sat in the pilot chair as the ship glided through starlight. Lyra placed a hand on the console, and the vessel awakened with soft blue light. They shared a quiet look-tea,